Jacksonville. For all of us, this is actually our first time attending one of these conferences, so we're very excited about it. So, I want to start off with everybody repeating after me. Okay, everybody repeat after me. Y'all got me? All right, so repeat after me. I want y'all to say this. Say the fruit is good.
It's good.
Say that again, okay? The fruit is good.
It's good.
The fruit is good. Y'all don't have to repeat that. Well, the fruit is good. I found out something interesting, Dr. Beck and Dr. Fernandez and Mr. Page and Mr. Archie and Mr. Williams, Mr. Walker and Mr. Bush. I found out recently reading that only 1.3% of all teachers, K-12 teachers in the country, are black males. Mm-hmm. Even so, though, the fruit is still good.
Yes.
Even so, the fruit is still good. So if the fruit is good, but we only have 1.3% of the entire K-12 teaching force in the United States of America are African American males, the question that we have to ask ourselves is this: how do we get more black males interested in education? And not only that, it's one thing to get them there, it's another thing to keep them. So once we get them there, how do we keep them? So that is what our discussion is going to be about this afternoon. When we talk about someone who looks like me, because representation indeed does matter. Now, I did this kind of backwards because I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Dr. John Hussein. I proudly serve as Associate Dean for Student Athlete Success, Associate Professor in the Department of Sport Professions, and I'm also the Assistant Campus Site Coordinator for the nationally acclaimed Call Me Mr. cohort at Newberry College. And I have several of my colleagues here with me today. Now, we're going to get to the good fruit a little bit later on, but I want to allow my colleagues to introduce themselves as well. Dr. McKee.
No.
Go ahead.
I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Beck. She's had so much fun at this conference, she has laryngitis. This is Dr. Judy Beck of the University of South Carolina at Aiken. Dr. Judy Beck. And I'm Susan Fernandez, and I have the honor to work with John Hussein.
And I'm Mr. Rashad Page. I am a proud Claflin 2014 graduate, elementary education. Even prouder, call me Mr. Graduate. My role is I am the coordinator of the USC Aiken Call Me Mr. program. These gentlemen right here in red bag. But you're going to hear about a story. You're going to hear about our story. Stories are very important. Stories inform us on not only where we've been, but where we're going. And I look at this picture, and you know about stories. You know, stories have words, but also stories have pictures. And out of all these gentlemen in this picture, I just want to point to this one right here. I know it's kind of great, but this is me. This is a handsome. This is me. And now, I point this story out, and every time I see this picture, I realize two things. Came a long way. I also realize I'm getting older. I'm 32 this year, but in that picture, I was 23 years old. Thank you. But I look at that picture, and I see people to my left, people to my right, and the very interesting part about this presentation is that the person to my right in the picture, you're actually going to hear from in the next slide, Dr. Walter Lee. But these are my brothers. These are my Call Me Mr. brothers. And these brothers in this picture, they represent not only Claflin University, not only USC Aiken, not only Newberry College, but they represent our schools in this state of South Carolina. Not only our universities, our elementary schools, our middle schools, our administration leads. Now, you'll see some quick facts here. Since 2004, 284 ministers have graduated and become fully certified and entered the classroom.
Yes.
Clap louder because that number is always increasing. We graduate ministers who are fully certified, means they have their certification along with their degree, and that number 284 is actually bigger now than when we did this presentation, and also bigger now because we just had our first graduate at USC Aiken this past December. The program as a whole, 90% increase of black male elementary school teachers. So, like I said, I'm an elementary education major, but the program itself focuses on early childhood, special ed, physical education, music education, and now we just started with secondary education as well. So, 95% of misters remain in the classroom, and 5% they go on to bigger things. The bigger things are they become professors, they become administrators, they become educational leaders. And what started as trying to get black males into the classroom has grown into getting black males to be at every level of education. And the final stat, 40% of misters have received school level teacher of the year, and we now, I'm pretty sure this number is going up as well. We have more than 3 district school teachers of the year. And then also, I want to say what MR stands for, right? So MR doesn't stand for males instructing students towards effective role model. It stands for mentors instructing students towards effective role model. That's very important because not only are males entering the classroom through MR, but also females as well. Good. Very good. Do you feel the power? Not yet. Not yet.
All right, so now what we're going to do, Call Me Mr. is based off of what we would consider to be 5 guiding principles or 5 guiding tenets. And so in this video, it's the aforementioned Dr. Walter Lee. Dr. Lee is considered to be a celebrity in Call Me Mr. circles. He honestly is. He's doing great things at the University of South Carolina Upstate. And so we asked him, because they cannot be here with us physically, to send a video. And they put together a nice little video that will explain to you the 5 guiding tenets to the 5 guiding principles of the Call Me Mr. program. Let's hope our sound works.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Walter Lee, an assistant professor of middle level education and the coordinator for Call Me Mr. at the University of South Carolina Upstate. And it is my pleasure to share with you the 5 tenets of Call Me Mr. Now, if you know anything about Call Me Mr., it is a personal as well as professional development program. And a lot of our curriculum and our programs and initiatives are guided by these 5 tenets. I feel like I need a little help. Who could I call? I got it. Mr. Green. I'm doing fine. How are you? So I'm getting ready to present it to these people, and you got a quick minute? All right. So go ahead and tell us about stewardship right quick.
Okay, so stewardship is really all about being dependable and reliable. Stewardship is pretty much like holding someone accountable for like just living in love or like for what they did wrong. Because sometimes people just don't know what they did wrong until someone tell them that they did wrong, so they can learn not to do wrong again. Stewardship is pretty much just the all around realm of being accountable. I mean, holding people accountable and being both reliable and dependable. And that, my friend, is what we call stewardship. Now it came down to it. It's me.
Oh, it came natural? All right. Well, I got to get back to the presentation, so I'll call you later. All right. Bye. What is the next thing called teacher efforts? This simply means that they engage scholarly work, scholarly service. That means that their GPAs are intact. That means they're meeting the educational benchmarks necessary to get into a professional program related to practice and other exams. And I do believe that our cohort at USC Upstate is committed to teacher efficacy. Why, you may ask? Well, this past semester, they earned an average GPA throughout the cohort of 3.4. And so I'm so very excited that our guys are taking serious the tenet of teacher efficacy. Now off to the next tenet, ambassadorship. And I think I have the perfect guy for it. Mr. James, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Listen, I'm doing this presentation right quick, and I need to call somebody to help me out. Can you talk about ambassadorship for like 30 seconds? I know it's off guard. Can you do that?
Ambassadorship basically refers to the minister that internalizes and clearly articulates the vision and mission of Call Me Mr. at all times. So basically, a person practicing
Got it. So show me one of the ways in which you execute ambassadorship at USC Upstate.
I execute ambassadorship at USC Upstate by participating in the USC Upstate Ambassador Program, by serving as a student leader, giving tours and going on conferences and speaking on behalf of the students.
All right. Thank you so much for participating. Let me get back to this conversation. Let me go ahead and tell you. This one is usually the challenge for a lot of the guys who become, it's hard to call it this, because, well, it simply means that they have to grow. Growth demands change. And I have the perfect person to have us talk about personal growth. Hello? Mr. Hurd.
Hey, how you
I'm doing fine. How about you?
I'm pretty good. What's up?
What you got going on?
Nothing, just chilling, playing a little Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. Well, I need you to put
Say what you
Call of
got
Duty.
going on.
Alright, and so I'm presenting to these people on a recorded line right now. I know it's on the spot. Just need your help. Can you talk about personal growth?
Okay, sure. So personal growth, as many know, is one of the 5 tenets of Call Me Mister, and that tenet just sees that Misters practice growth outside of the classroom, whether it's as a person, developing more emotional intelligence, self-awareness, things of that nature. Just how can I become a more well-rounded, evenly yoked person? I practice that through being intentional about being empathetic for others. The guys in Mr. who've known me for a long time know that that was sort of a struggle for me in the beginning. And so my personal growth journey sees that I am very intentional about expressing empathy for others, not just through words, but also through actions.
Alright, I really appreciate that. I'm gonna hit you up later, alright?
Of course, glad I can.
Alright, bye. And last but not least, there's servant leadership. Perhaps that's the most important construct or pillar within Call Me Mister. In servant leadership, it simply means that they sacrifice and honor their personal wants for the needs of the group. They find ways to empower each other, find ways to empower others. One of the ways that our program does that is through volunteering. We volunteer at a local middle school and local elementary school, bringing to students tutoring after school. And if there's something happening on campus, you'll likely see a Mr. somewhere nearby in service. And so, as you can see, there are 5 notable tenets within Call Me Mister. That's stewardship, that's ambassadorship, teacher efficacy, personal growth, and servant leadership. If you want to learn more, hit us up on Instagram at Upstate Mister. Enjoy the rest of your presentation. See you later.
We already heard from you. So let's talk a little bit more about logistics and how our program actually works. So let's first talk about from the recruitment standpoint. So one thing that I would say about the recruitment standpoint about Call Me Mister is the program actually recruits itself. That's one thing about our program. Our program actually recruits itself. I'm pretty sure Mr. Page can tell you this, Dr. Beck can tell you this, Dr. Fernandez and myself, we can also tell you this. We have students that actually reach out to us about the program. We have students who reach out to us. I've heard about this program. Can you tell me a little bit more about this program and its tenets of how it actually works? So the name, the program actually recruits itself, but mainly where do we get our students from? We get our students from underserved, socioeconomically disadvantaged, and educationally at-risk communities. If anybody is familiar with the state of South Carolina, we have something that is known as the Corridor of Shame. Has anybody heard of the Corridor of Shame? So the Corridor of Shame is pretty much the I-95 corridor that cuts all the way down the eastern side of the state of South Carolina. And some of the lowest performing school districts in the state of South Carolina are on the Corridor of Shame. So we actually pull a good bit of our students actually from the Corridor of Shame. Now, one of the interesting things I like to think about on the Corridor of Shame is the town of Summerton, South Carolina. And if you're familiar with educational history, there's a case that is known as Briggs versus Elliott. Briggs versus Elliott was actually one of the first cases of segregation in the United States of America in education, and that case was actually rolled into Brown versus the Board of Education. Started right there in Clarendon County, South Carolina. Guess who's from Clarendon County, South Carolina? This guy right here. So, but we have misters in our program who come from those different types of school districts. Mr. Page talked about one thing about being a change agent. One thing about every single student that comes through the Call Me Mister program, they are change agents. And they're actually able to go to those schools and those districts that they work and raise the level and raise the bar and raise the expectations in the rooms that they actually set foot in. That's where we get our students from. Now, let's talk a little bit about retention. Mr. Page, you want to take this one?
So we talked about recruitment. Let's talk about retention. So, like I said earlier, it's nothing to recruit a student. You have to retain that student. You have to help that student grow through their challenges that they may experience. Everyone who's been through college or been through any educational program, it is challenging. It's not easy. It will grow you. It will challenge you. It will break you. It will mold you. Now, the important thing about retention right now is that you're not going to hear it from me, even though I went through the program. You're going to hear it from people who are actually going through it. So I want to introduce one of our misters, one of our newest misters that we're very proud of, Mr. Terrence Williams, and he's going to talk about a tenant that has retained him during his time and call him Mr.
Okay, so I'm welcome y'all. Thank you, Mr. Page. Like Mr. Page said, my name is Mr. Terrence Williams. I am a senior at the University of South Carolina, Aiken, major in the middle level education with the content areas of English and social studies. Before I start, I'd like to ask y'all a question. Oh, y'all clever. Before I get started, I want to ask y'all a question. Do y'all have somebody, you can raise your hand. Do y'all have somebody in your life that no matter what, you can always lean on and depend on to push you to do better? Y'all raise your hand. If your hand's not raised, don't worry. But yes, the tenant that has retained me in the MISA program is Brothers Keeper. Before I got into the program, this is my first year in the program. So I was interested in the program, and when the misters who were already in the program found out I was interested, they were there for me. They made sure I had everything I needed, the application done, the papers you gotta do to be able to get in the program, leading up into my interview. And I realized then that I had a brotherhood before I was even in the MISTA program.
All right.
And when I got into the MISTA program, there was one part of the praxis core that I had not passed yet. It was a math section, huh? Raise your hand if you're struggling on math. Okay, so it was the math section. And with the Call Me Mr. program, it's this thing called 240 tutoring. And you know, I can be lazy sometimes. I don't wanna get on 240 tutoring sometimes. But my Mr. brothers, they were there. They're like, you did your 240 tutoring this week. You did your 2 hours. And I'm like, no. But they pushed me, and I went on. And I started doing my 240 tutoring because they enforced it and made sure that I had everything I needed to access that resource. And within my first semester of being in the Mr. program, I passed the math section of the practice core after the third time. And I gained entrance into the teaching professional program to get my certification. So I'm just very blessed to have a program like this that does this, but I'm more blessed to have brothers that I always fall back on. Thank y'all so much.
I know he's ready to jump. So Mr. Melvin Archie, he is one of our misters at USC Aiken, someone we're very proud of. And I'm just going to let him jump in and do it because he doesn't want anybody to talk to him. He wants to talk.
Good afternoon. My name is Mr. Melvin Archie Jr. I am an elementary education major from Hopkins, South Carolina. And on my retention, I will talk about teacher efficacy. How Call Me Mr. always make sure our grades are right. But I'm going to take y'all on a little story. Okay, so I want everybody to close their eyes if they can. All right, close your eyes. So just imagine you're 19 years old. You just got done with your first year in college, and you get a call for an internship. And you're in the internship, and you're a teacher. You're going to be a teacher. And you've never been in the classroom before, never been interactive with real students. And so you get to this internship, and you get to Orangeburg, South Carolina. Some people don't know about Orangeburg, but you get to Orangeburg, South Carolina, and you get there on a Sunday, and they tell you that next Monday you going to teach a class. So you 19 years old, you like, teach a class. Okay, so you walk into this classroom, you have no idea, and then this little guy comes up to you, third grader. This is probably the cutest you ever seen. He just walk up to you and he say, "Hey, you look like me." I was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, "I have a question. How do I spell my name?" How you spell your name? I was like, what's your name? And he said his 4-letter name. And he said he couldn't spell it. And this really opened my eyes. It really set inside my heart. Okay, you can open your eyes. This really set in my heart. This really made me feel that. It made me feel the energy that really gravitated towards me when I walked in that classroom at 19 years old. For students to come up to me and say, "You look like me," and they would just gravitate. And I seen the growth from the beginning of summer to the end of the summer. And those students who couldn't even spell their name, they're now reading on their grade level. And Call Me Mister has built that. And Call Me Mister has built that foundation for me to gain that experience at such a young age. Thank you.
So his first semester he was 19 years. His first summer he was 19 years old. He's only 20 years old now. He's only 20. But the next semester I want to bring up is someone that Dr. Becker and I we just talk about all the time. When she has her voice, we talk about it all the time. But like we really, really are so proud of this Mr. And Mr. Jordan Walker, can you please come up?
Good afternoon, everyone. A little louder, please. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, I love that. It is a pleasure to be here today. My name is Mr. Jordan Walker. I am a junior elementary education major from the University of South Carolina, Aiken, and I am from Aiken, South Carolina. So today I'm going to talk about personal growth. And instead of just talking, boring you, I'm going to tell you all a story. And this is a story that I like to call The Boy Who Found His Voice. So, well, to get started off, each and every day I live by the Call Me Mister vision statement, and I implement it into my everyday life. And what it takes to be a mister, which is a servant leader, a dedicated servant leader. But when I first came to USC Aiken, it wasn't that way. When I first came, I was shy, I was quiet. I didn't talk to anyone. I went to class, didn't engage in class, went to lunch, didn't even eat in the cafeteria. I always went back to my room. I would just stand to myself. Then I started noticing I wasn't happy. I wasn't satisfied with it. And I noticed I wasn't growing. And I didn't like that. I wanted to feel some growth. So I got the opportunity to go to the Call Me Mister summer internship. I spoke with my site coordinator and my brother. At first I was a little hesitant because, I'd never been away from home. I'm from Aiken, South Carolina, going to USC Aiken. Never been too far away from home. So I decided, I gathered my courage, and I went to this internship. I got there, I was quiet, but the moment I got there, those misses was not having it. It was like, and boy, I was talking. And haven't stopped talking yet. I got there, shy. Them misters, they really changed my life. They held me accountable, kept my head held high, gave me words of encouragement. I knew that's where I wanted to be as an educator. So, a couple of weeks go by, summer internship, session 2 started. I felt a lot of growth in myself. I was like, you know what? I went to my cooperating teacher, the one who I was placed with for the internship. I told her, you know what? You can take a break. I'll teach class. I taught the class. Walked them to lunch, took them to PE, all of that. Then got back to school in the fall. I was like, you know what? I feel so much growth in myself. I'm gonna put it to test. Because of the internship, and because of my brothers, I have grown. I would like to say, well, I don't want to say it, but I would lie if I would be saying that I did all this growing on my own. If it wasn't for my brothers, I wouldn't have this much growth. When I came back to school, I really put it to test. I felt like I was a true leader. Because of the internship, because of my measurable promise, I have become a leader, and because of my hard work and dedication, I have been promoted to the Call Me Mister Vice President.
His first year, I couldn't get a word out of him. Dr. Beck is probably just filled with so much joy because we talk about all the time how much leadership he shows. And not only like in the program, his professors like look at him as a leader in the classroom. They don't even call him Jordan, they call him Mr. Jordan Walker. And that's like what we really try to push at Calling Mr. If you notice, every time I introduce, every time we talk about a Mr., it's always Mr., their first name, last name. Because we want them to get in the habit of being seen as role models and, just holding up the Mr. brand. So, another Mr. that we're going to bring down and talk about something different is Mr. Jacoby Bush. And, he's like, yeah.
How y'all doing? My name is Mr. Jacoby Donnell Bush. I am a student athlete at Newberry College, and I'm also the president of Call Me Mr. on campus. So look, we talked about all this good stuff by keeping us retained, keeping us in the classroom, and keeping us motivated. But now we're gonna talk about the real good stuff. Money. Everybody has to think about money. But look, let's be honest. College is very, very financially strenuous, to say the least. And Call Me Mr. does whatever it can possible to make sure that it takes a lot of that burden off of us. So, when you first enter Call Me Mr., you get $5,000 added to your scholarship. That's a lot. That's a lot. You pass Practice Core, that 5 doubles to 10. It's a lot of money. Help me out a lot. But that's not just it. Depending on how the budget is and how many misters you have set up, there's also room for the budget to help with books. Some help with room and board. And pretty much just like anything else that you really need help with. If you talk to your site leader, they'll be able to help you out, pull some strings, and make sure you get what you can get. Because, college is expensive. And oftentimes, it feels like you kind of just coming in to Call Me Mr., coming in with nothing in hand. But when you use the resources, use the help of your brothers, continue to become encouraged, and just keep chugging along. You come in with nothing, but you leave with, I promise you, everything. So, look, Call Me Mr. it's a great program, and it's really helped me a lot.
Real quickly, as we're running out of time, one of the things I do want to kind of highlight and just touch on real quick, one of the things that sets Call Me Mr. apart from a lot of other teacher education programs or preparation programs is the professional development opportunities that it offers to the students. So Misters, when they're going through their program, they're actually able to cut their teeth. And that's why they are really truly ready when they walk into the classroom on day one. So what are some of those professional development opportunities? One is the summer internship. Mr. Archie, how many have you gone to?
I'm going to 2.
And don't you get to do something special
Yeah.
a little bit later on the spring?
Well, as I previously said about the internship in Orangeburg, this past summer I was at the internship at Spartanburg, South Carolina, and we have awards at the end of the summer, and I got the Distinguished Mr. Award. So in the beginning of May, I'll be going to Greece.
Mr. Walker, how many internships have you gone to?
I have went to one, but I plan on going this summer as well.
All right. Mr. Bush, how many internships have you gone to?
I've actually gone to 2. I plan on going again in the summer as well.
Okay. All right. And so, Mr. Williams, you have not gone to an internship, but you went to the Leadership Institute.
Yes, sir. I
Talk
did.
about that real quickly, about that Leadership Institute.
Okay, I'm gonna tell a quick story. When I actually went to the Leadership Institute literally about a couple of weeks after I was accepted into the Mr. Program, and I remember Mr. Page emailing me and texting me, letting me know the itinerary. I'm like, okay, Clemson University, look nice. I'm thinking, maybe some of my it's a funny story. Some of Mr. Brothers gonna be there, Mr. Page gonna be there. Then I get an email. They text me. He's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna be there. I'm actually gonna be in Canada." I'm like, "Canada." So basically, I packed all my stuff up. I got in my car, and then I drove all the way up to Clemson University. And I'm by myself, so I'm kind of like all these other brothers. They got their Mr. Brothers. They got like somebody with them. I'm there by myself. And then like literally, just the minute I walked into like the first session, somebody walked up to me and said, "You're from USC Aiken." I'm like, "Y'all know me?" But seeing everybody who's like-minded and wants to be educators and they look like me, it was something beautiful to see. It's something that we don't see on an everyday basis at our PWI. So like going to the institute and being able to network and meet with those brothers just meant the world to me, because I just felt so much joy in my heart being in that place with all those like-minded people just like myself. And I know I'm on the time limit, so thank you.
So we want to end this presentation with something special. There is a certain statement. It's called the Call Me Mr. Student Vision Statement that every single one of our Mr. participants is supposed to be able to recite on point. Now, one thing that we say about Call Me Mr., we are many schools, but we are
One Mister.
one Mr. We're many schools, but we're one Mr. So for you all, we want to do the Call Me Mr. Student Vision Statement. So let's take it on over, sir.
Mr. Williams, parliamentarian. Go ahead.
I am
A dedicated servant leader who perpetuates the needed concept. Servant leaders are role models of elementary schools. I am devoted to planting seeds of dignity and respect in children, and inspiring them to cultivate those seeds, producing a crop of unprecedented success. I will teach reading, writing, and arithmetic, and progress of self-esteem, imagination, and determination. Because of my eventual promise, and I'm going to earn her respect, I demand a topic is only important when one's character and integrity dictates its use. When you address me, please verbalize my destiny. Please not call me by my first name. Call me in reference to my great vision. Call me Mr. Teamwork makes the dream work.
We got one question for everybody. What is it? Do you feel it? What you talking about? Do you feel the power?
Oh yes, absolutely. Okay, so we can talk also real quickly about, this is our contact information. It is, this website right here gives you a little bit more information about our Mr. program. The national office is actually housed at Clemson University, okay? But the contact information for Dr. Beck, Dr. Fernandez, Mr. Page, and myself is located right here. So Call Me Mr. is a national initiative. It's not just in South Carolina. So we have several other schools across the United States of America that have Mr. programs. Kansas State,
Kansas State, Jackson State, Grambling,
Illinois, Chicago, Louisiana Tech.
Cheney University.
Yep, Cheney has it.
Yeah.
Longwood's had it. East Kentucky has it. UT Martin. It's all over the place.
Reach out to the national office.
Reach out to the national office. Dr. Roy Jones is our executive director for the Call Me Mr. initiative.
And to be friends with Roy Jones.
Yes.
Yes. The Godfather.
Yeah.